What's going on, guys? Back with a little bit of a different video today. I guess it's not too different. Kind of back to the roots of the channel. Today we've got a knife unboxing. And the main point of this video is to kind of piggyback off of my last knife video, the Toor Knives Merchant. As I raved about this knife in that video, it got me really interested more in Toor and wanting to check out their other models. I was so impressed with this one. So long story short, I'm part of the Toor Knives Facebook group, and there was a gentleman on there that had previously owned a knife shop, and I think he was just trying to liquidate his inventory and offer it up to folks on the Toor Knives group that love these knives and want to get their hands on them for a really good price. So I picked up two models from him. I didn't ask a lot of questions. The prices were way below retail. I actually offered to buy two off of him, and he gave me even a little bit better price than that. So really generous. Huge shout out to you and thank you if you're happy to watch this video. Very excited to get these knives in my hands. So anyways, without further ado, let's set the Merchant aside and let's check out the Suitor first. So I believe some of these, if not both of these, were discontinued in their current form. I think that Toor, due to some early on QC issues, have changed things up on some of their models and improved things substantially. So I didn't do a lot of research on these simply because I kind of wanted to come into this blind, as if I didn't know, a lot about Toor and their history. As far as these knives go, I knew about the Merchant, obviously, but so anyways, I wanted to check these out kind of blind and kind of get a feel for Toor Knives early stages of their development. So open it up here. We've got some Band-Aids. That's cool. And so Prairie State Knives. So I believe this was the gentleman's previous knife shop, guys. That is, I think he's decided to do something else with his life. And I think he's making sharpening stones right now. So these are brand new from his retail shop. And like I said, these should be the Generation 1 blades, not the Gen 2. Guaranteed for life. Yada. Let's see if there's any more information on this box. This is just the, here we go, Suitor stone is the coloration, and that's pretty much it. Let's check out the knife, get a nice polishing cloth, see if I can get this guy. He is nestled in there deep. Okay, let's see if I can get that guy out. Move this stuff to the side and check it out. So I've never handled either of these blades, the Suitor or the Chasm, which is the other one that I got. So let's, okay. Well, I can't get the knife out of the handle. Wow, that is stiff. So being a Gen 1, I'm expecting some differences. Wow, that is very stiff. Very stiff. I think it's over tightened. Let's check out the centering. Yeah, it's off to this side slightly. And so one thing about these knives, guys, frame locks in general, just a quick word of advice. If you ever open a knife and it's super stiff, check out the centering first. Typically, if it's over to the lock side, it's probably over tightened, because the way this is designed is that dead center should be, from a QC and machining standpoint, should be the position that the maker wants you to have the knife in, right? And it should be the correct amount of play to get really nice action. The frame lock in general, by the way it's designed, is typically wanting to cant the knife over to the scale side, the show side. And so if it's not, and it's canted to the opposite side, the frame, the lock side, it typically means that it's over tightened because it's overcoming the pressure of the lock. So most likely I need to back this guy out, and that'll free up my action. This one, as you can see with my Merchant, it's perfectly, if I can get it right, perfectly dead down the center and super smooth with zero play in the lock, in the folded position, and 0 play in the lock position. So right where it was engineered to be. So this one probably just needs to be loosened, and I'll loosen that pivot after the video. So hopefully once I do that, I get a little bit of action. Like right now it's so locked down, I physically can't get the blade out with one hand. I mean, it's hard even with two. It is just like super stiff. Obviously there's no lock, no play in the blade whatsoever, because it's very tight. Other than that, let's put that aside. So I think I can fix the centering by loosening up at that. I think somebody just got a little overzealous with this guy. Real slim package in this dimension. So when it's in your pocket, your front to back, it's not going to take up much real estate in the pocket, and relatively slim. Excuse me, let me take a drink here. Relatively slim in its thickness. The Gen 1 knives, I think the way you kind of know a Gen 1 is by the clip. If you notice, the new versions of the Toor folders are all coming with these deep carry clips. Much preferred, much preferred. This is, in my opinion, absolutely ridiculous to have a clip that much of the knife shows for no reason. I just don't honestly get it. I feel like it's more apt to snag on things. It's easier to get pulled out of your pocket by accident. It's easier to get it all scratched up. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally. So I'm going to get an aftermarket clip or make a clip for myself to make this deep carry or carry this in a slip potentially. But relatively speaking, it is a very slim, thin knife package. And of course, you've got that beautiful, elegant blade shape, which I love. I talked about in my last video. If you haven't seen it, go watch that. It's basically the slimmer version of the Merchant is really what it is. This is very 943 Osborne, Benjamin Osborne 943-esque, which is to say beautiful, elegant. I love that blade shape. It's extremely useful. You get a ton of real estate in the blade in a relatively small package. Decent blade thickness, like I said with this one, not too thick, not too thin. Gonna give great reinforcement on that tip, as you can see. Very well done. I think the earlier generations, which this is, obviously had thicker scales than what a lot of his folders are coming with now. It's kind of hard to see because this knife is just, the Merchant is just relatively bigger, but you can tell that he slimmed them down substantially with the new generations, which I think makes sense. If you kind of look at the frame to blade ratio, it's kind of a little bit off, looks a little bit odd to have such a tank of a knife with a very small, thin blade. This thing's going to be very slicey, very thin behind the edge. It's got a decent factory edge. Could be better, being honest. This one's, the Merchant, is much sharper from the factory. But overall, this is going to be a great EDC, super carryable. Love it. Great looking knife beside the clip, and obviously loosening up that pivot a little bit to get a little bit better action. See how that turns out. But that is the Suitor. Let's check out the Chasm. I've already been rambling for 10 minutes. Cloth, once again, Toor Knives, and here is the knife. So this one in the pictures looked like it was orange. Getting it behind the camera, it's a little bit more of a fire engine red, I would say. And sorry for the lighting, guys. My the light that I usually use to film is actually broke, so I need to get that replaced. Okay, the action on this guy is much better. Very smooth. Still a little bit hard to deploy. I think it's very smooth, very smooth, very hydraulic, but it's not very free. Let's see if we have the same issue with this guy. That one's pretty down the middle. I might see if I can loosen this pivot a little bit without introducing any play. Free it up a little bit to get that kind of action that I prefer. I like one-handing opening my knives. I think that's part of the point of having these big thumb studs, as opposed to traditionally opening a knife. So if I can't open it one-handed, it kind of negates the purpose of the design a little bit for me. Overall, this one mechanically is much better. I can flick it open with some strength behind it, and I think this one is much more reminiscent of the Merchant. Very close design language. This one you've got a hole for your lanyard. Overall, very similar blade shape, a little bit shorter on the Chasm and a little bit wider in this dimension. Thickness on these guys. The Chasm's a little bit thicker, not quite as chamfered as on the edges as the Merchant. And again, that silly clip that I'm going to get rid of as soon as possible. But really, really good looking knife. The thing that's cool about this one is you've got this really radical kind of take on a recurve. Very unique. I see this thing being very good for utility purposes though. I think knives that have a natural recurve, especially in this dimension, are very good for doing fine work, work with rope, cutting rope, things like that. And then I also like, for opening packages, you've got this real big drop here in this dimension. So you've got a lot of cutting edge introduced in that dimension versus, especially when you're cutting, like doing food prep or anything like that, where you're cutting down a lot and you've got that big belly towards the end. I think that is really nice versus something like this where you don't have a lot of belly and you kind of have to cut like this versus tipping the blade up, kind of where it feels more natural to you. So different, different utility in this knife. They're built for different purposes, but overall, boy, isn't that a good looking knife though? Isn't that just cool? The aesthetic, really good looking. And I believe this is Cerakote. I'm pretty sure. It doesn't say. That's one thing about his boxes that I think the color is ruby. I would definitely prefer if the boxes came with more detail. I mean, you're a small company. These are your designs in-house. Show some of the dimensions. The knife steels on these should be more self-evident. I believe they're all S35, but like it doesn't say that anywhere. I truly don't understand. Not that you need a big huge banner anywhere on your knife, I'm not saying that. Like, yeah, sometimes they're like hidden in here, but like, put it in here or something. Just, it doesn't even say on the box. Like, I can't, it doesn't say the knife steel anywhere. And I think it says on the actual, let's see, make sure I'm not telling lies. Yeah, it doesn't even say on the card that you get. So unless you were the original buyer from the website, you would have no idea what you're getting steel wise in these. So just little things like that. I think that Toor, I'm a big fan of their knives so far. In using this guy, I have been carrying this, and the story, I said this in the last video, I've been carrying this thing like crazy. I love it. It's just honestly so good. It's held up so well. The action has gotten even better. There's no introduction of any play. It's just perfect lockup, perfect centering, perfect size. I love this size right between a large and small Sabenza. It's so good. I've always thought that a large Sabenza is slightly large for me. Just in my everyday carry, whether it's shorts to jeans to slacks, slightly large, and the small is slightly too small, and this is right in the middle. So it's just, I'm really digging their knives. I'm really rooting for them. I really would like to see them coming out with more stuff, up their quality a little bit more. And I think that value retention, these knives, I like them a lot, and I'm happy that they're going for what they are so that I can pick them up at a reasonable price. But the value proposition is high in ownership, but the resale value is terrible. I mean, these things just drop like a rock. And like, I paid so far below retail for both these knives. I'm very grateful to them. But you also want to make a good investment with your money. If you're going to use these knives and abuse them, I think you're going to get your money's worth. But if you're ever looking to, you need to move them, you get in a pinch, or you change hobbies, you're going to lose your shirt on buying these knives. You just are. It's just what I've seen in the market. So I think if they made a few changes, that they could turn that around. Ultimately, they're US made products of high quality materials, great packaging, great story, veterans. anybody should be rooting for them to do well, and I certainly am. And I would like to see them come out with new designs, spend a little bit more time on the R&D side of things. If you have to get rid of 50 of these and put them in the pockets of YouTube channels, and you know, say, hey, use this, and you only get to keep it if you come back with criticisms. Make it, you know, something like that. You know, tell us what you really think, what needs to be improved. The people that are making videos like I'm making and putting them in their pockets and using them on a daily basis, not abusing them, but using them for their intended purpose, and bring some constructive criticism to the table, and then implement that in your processes going forward. So I think that would be huge for this company. I think that's kind of what they need, in my personal opinion. I think that they are making strides in that direction, short of some glaringly obvious things, in my opinion. But overall, I'm rooting for them. I like their knives. I like their aesthetic. I think they've gotten a lot of issues worked out from what I've been hearing kind of on the chat groups and things. So keep going, guys. Rooting for you. If you watch this video, thank you to the gentleman who sold me these knives. Very, very happy to have them in the collection. They'll be put to good use, and hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching, guys. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you're not. I really appreciate it, and keep doing more videos, and hopefully get myself a new light so the lighting is a little bit better in here. Catch you guys on the next one. See ya.